Here we go. It's staying
What's
there.
happening, guys? It is Fantasy on Tap podcast with me and your boy Blake. My name is Eric Sonnier. What up, dude? How you feeling?
Man, it was a fun first real week of preseason fantasy, preseason football. Nice to see a couple of guys that we hadn't seen yet. So I'm ready to talk about it. Let's get to it.
Yeah. All right. Let me pull this up. You said you went to the Saints game. How was that?
It was great, dude. I won some tickets from this guy off of Twitter. It was a totally happenstance thing. Like Connor was saying, he was going to the game. Like we were trying to hang out the day before because his girlfriend was in town and stuff, and we couldn't make that happen. And so the next day, he had told me he was going to the game. So that night, I was on Twitter, and this guy that I follow just happened to be like, he's a Saints writer. He just happened to be like, anybody want tickets, locals only. And so I didn't even say I wanted the tickets. I just said, is Slidell local, And he was like, of
Right.
course. And then like 20 minutes later, I had a DM and he said I wanted tickets. And I was just like, what? Like, this is so cool. So like, I was like, well, now I'm going to the game. Like I was supposed to go to church. And I was like, well, now I'm going to the game. So
That's awesome. Hell yeah. I never win anything.
Yeah,
so
this
awesome.
dude, John Hendricks on Twitter, John J. Hendricks on Twitter. He's a writer. And hit me up with some sweet tickets. I wonder if I could show a picture on here. I don't know how to pull them up on. But basically, I was in the corner of the dome. So like the corner of an end zone, basically. And the corners, I found out while I was there, are what they just renovated in the dome. So like the whole area was really nice. The sight line was like perfect. I mean, dude, like except for when people stand up, But like when you were sitting, like just picture like sitting at the corner of the dome, like on the Saints side, like just looking out. Like it was perfect. Like when they were driving at us, it was really good. Like so, yeah,
Especially probably if
super dope. I guess we can just jump right into the.
Well, so first, let me go ahead before we start with this. I got it pulled up. I want y'all all to become an all-access member of Fantasy Six Pack to get access to all our award-winning rankings, our draft cheat sheets, our DFS projections, the betting tools, and other great content. Best of all, you get access to the analysts directly on our Discord, where you can get custom advice for your leagues. Go to fantasy6pack.net/plans and use the promo code F6PNFL to save 15%. We are still running that league that we're going to be doing in a couple weeks. The next mock draft is like next Monday, I think. So yeah, we're gonna be playing with some people in the Discord. So everybody come and try to get with us.
But yeah, Monday or Tuesday? I think you're right. Monday sounds right.
Yeah, so let's just kind of jump into a couple things. First, I wanted to start about a little preseason week 1 action. Since we were just talking about the Saints, we might as well start with them. Not gonna get too detailed into everybody that played on each team and all that good stuff. I kind of just wrote down a few people that I think that maybe after this week you might want to start watching a little bit going to your drafts. But yeah, let's start off with the Saints, dude. The Saints looked real. That first drive, I don't know, it made me pretty excited. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's nothing more classic than the Saints because we're playing the Super Bowl champs too. So I don't know how many starters they had fully on defense, but right. Classic Saints to just come out there and we're running screens. We're running the like the kind of deep slants to Michael Thomas, Juwan Johnson. Everybody
looks like a beast. We just talked about it last week.
Yeah, they're looking like he's definitely the starter. Jimmy Graham played solely with the backups.
Dude, did you even see Foster Moreau? I didn't see. I don't remember if I even seen Foster Moreau out there.
Foster Moreau played 6 snaps, I think, and he only ran 2 routes.
Well, I mean,
he's definitely the blocking. He's that. Yeah, he's the new Adam Troutman. So he's going to do the blocking. Juwan Johnson's going to run the routes. And everyone sees the big Jimmy Graham signing. Saints fans love him. So if you have Saints fans in your league that aren't too good, they're going to draft Jimmy Graham. You need to be drafting Juwan Johnson. He's going to go late in leagues, and I think he's going to be top 10, like top 12, top 10, with the ability to go higher. Like especially if he's getting red zone. If Jimmy Graham's not coming in and stealing fade red zone attempts, I really think Juwan Johnson is exactly who you want. Like if you're gonna fade, if you don't get, Kelsey, Kittle, Andrews, Waller, not Hawkinson. Vikings guy. Is it Hawkinson?
Yeah, it's Hawkinson.
Yeah, it is Hawkinson. Okay, but you don't get those 6. I'd say fade and just get Juwan Johnson. Maybe Blake Ferguson. That's another one of my sleeper tight ends I really like. Cowboys tight end Blake Ferguson. Get those guys late in draft. I'm doing a 35-round draft right now, and Blake Ferguson just got drafted in like the 27th round. So nobody's thinking about him. He's going to be the starter.
All right, you're going off on a little tangent right there about some tight ends. But anyway, let's go back to the Saints game. Derek Carr, he looks pretty nice, 6 for 8 on the passing. I think that first pass was tipped, so it kind of, he's going to have some incompletions. He's not going to be perfect, but 6 for 8 for 70 yards and a touchdown. I mean, it looked like he was moving the ball pretty well. Like I said, though, he had a couple third down conversions on that drive. I think both of them to Juwan Johnson. We had that nice one over the middle to Michael Thomas, who looked pretty like Michael Thomas to me. That was a Michael Thomas catch. Didn't even get Olave involved, and we still scored a touchdown on that first drive. That last that touchdown pass that Derek Carr threw, it looked like he went through 3 or 4 looks before he finally found that guy and threw a perfect pass to him.
Yeah, I think Derek Carr's worst throw was really the Olave pass.
Right. It was just like a little
exactly what it
cross.
Was,
he said, and Olave came across and it's supposed to be like a little dump pass, but it was kind of covered. So I mean, it was probably not going to happen anyway. And then we got AK involved in that first drive too. He had 3 catches for 14 yards and 2 catches for 21 yards. So I mean,
O-line was blocking. I'm feeling like
nice.
That boosts Jamal Williams because he's going to be the guy playing at the beginning. Kendre Miller stocked down, I would say.
Yeah.
He seeing him in person, he did not look. It didn't seem like he was seeing the running lanes really well. And then of course he got hurt towards the end of the game as well. I don't think he's badly hurt, but I think he, bruised up his knee or something, some type of knee injury they were saying. But on that toss play, we ran that toss on 3rd and 7, in the red zone for some reason. And not that play was going to go anywhere, but just from the angle that I got, he looked like he just ran right into the back of his lineman and just kind of was done. So that speed, it's good. That's why you play the preseason. Those guys, especially rookies, really need to see that the speed in the NFL is legit to the sidelines, especially. So it was fun.
And I liked A.T. Perry too, looking with that 6 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. I mean, if he's worth anything, he was like a 6th-round pick. So that's always something that you look forward to. If he's going to be good, then that's good because the Saints look like they're full of weapons right now. I know it's a preseason; it was literally 1 drive, but I mean that was a Chiefs starter, so it wasn't like they were playing against the 2nd or 3rd string. That was all their starters besides Chris Jones, and they looked pretty nice.
Which
to me.
Could make a difference though because our weakness is the middle of the line. I think we were texting later on in the game when Jameis Winston, where I was saying if Jameis Winston had a Hall of Fame interior O-line, he would be a starter. He would be a starting caliber quarterback, but if he gets any pressure in his face, he's discombobulated. But then you saw that great throw he made to Kirkwood. Was it Kirkwood? Or it might have been H.C. Perry. I don't know. But he made just a great throw. The guy dove in. I think it was Kirkwood. Dove into the end zone, touchdown. And it was just the perfect throw to get that guy open. So it's just one of those things where man, if you just have the right O-line, I really think Jameis Winston could at least be starting caliber. Maybe not Super Bowl winning QB caliber, but he's a starter. He's got the skill. So
kind of we'll stop talking about the Saints. Me and him will get lost on that and lose the whole episode. But
32 minutes later,
I kind of want
to
say a couple of names.
Let's go to but first. Zeke to the Patriots. What are your thoughts?
I was going to talk about him in a little bit, but let's save that one for after these highlights real quick of preseason.
Oh wait, okay, my bad. I didn't realize you had more on preseason. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah. So no, I just kind of wanted to a couple of guys that I wrote down for the preseason that maybe you should look into for position battles. I think first you could talk about the Penny and the Swift battle. Penny had 9 carries for 34 yards and Swift had 2 for 24. So, I mean, it kind of looks like you probably see who the starter is there, right? I mean, looks like Swift is probably going to get that first crack at it. Everybody kind of thought already, but everybody's been kind of high on Penny because, he's good when he's healthy. It's just, is he ever healthy? And is he going to get the starter? If he's getting those
and then
carries
the true thing is that Kenny Gainwell didn't even play, so maybe he's the real starter, because they don't usually play starter. Like sometimes you don't play if you're the number one, So
Right.
like you said with Bijan, Bijan. Sorry, I always say Bijan.
I hate it.
Bijan Robinson.
But yeah, so then I found I saw that Tanks Bigsby. He had about 9 carries for 52 yards. Yeah, 9 carries for 52 yards. So that little bowling ball he looks like he's going to transition pretty well. And Travis Etienne didn't really play that much. I don't even know if he played at all, but that's who obviously is the main backup over there, Etienne. And with him being a scat bag, I feel like they're going to run the ball a little bit with Tanks Bigsby, so he might not be a bad option later on as well. So with Zeke,
Etienne did play though. Yeah, he played with the starters, so he's healthy and everything's good with him. So that's good.
So with Zeke signing with the Patriots, that kind of takes a little bit from my next guy was Deuce Vaughn. Pollard, obviously is a starter, but Deuce Vaughn looked pretty good in his little opening as well. We were talking about him a little bit, him being so small. But, 8 carries for 50 yards and a touchdown is pretty solid for his, NFL debut. So he's going to have to be the primary backup over there to Pollard. So if you're looking for some handcuffs, he's not going to be a bad option later. Super late, right?
A lot of people are – yeah, a lot of people – I think he's still in my other league that I'm in right now. A lot of people are, saying Darren Sproles, but I really think he's slighter, like skinnier than Darren Sproles. So he could never, take a full workload, obviously. Which Darren Sproles eventually was getting 12 carries a game or something like that. Dude was a stud. He was a lot more thick-bodied for a smaller guy though. So I did like to see Deuce Vaughn though. Like it did bring back good memories of just the shiftiness and it takes you off guard because you can't see that guy when he gets the ball. The linemen are all 6'2" and above, so they're crouched over. You can't see that guy, so he has a kind of a weird advantage by just where is he? Oh shit, there he is, So
right, and he's fast too, like you said. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And like you said, I don't think a lot of people are even drafting him. I've never seen him be drafted in these mock drafts. So Deuce Vaughn is somebody maybe you can look forward to in the last couple of rounds. Next little list, I got Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson. I know they got Dante Foreman over there too, but these are kind of just the highlights. I saw that Khalil Herbert had the 1 catch for 56 yards. He took that screen pass to the house for the touchdown. Then he had 4 carries for 15 yards. So it looked like he was in the game during the Justin Fields drives. So that's, obviously we knew Herbert was a starter. I did at least. I think a lot of people were thinking that, it could be Dante Foreman, could be Roschon Johnson. But, Roschon went for 12 carries for 44 yards. So clearly he's not seen as the starter yet, right? You don't let your starter carry that many times.
Well, he actually came in behind Ebner too, that Travis Ebner guy. But Ebner got hurt. So that's kind of what gave Roschon a more. But as a guy who has some Dante Foreman stock, the way Roschon was running and the way he looked definitely had me worried. I was definitely wishing I could cancel keeping that dude, So I'm I like Foreman now. But I would say his stock sliding a little bit, I would say.
But, like I said, Herbert is going to be the starter, I think, at first, right? Roschon was the backup to Bijan Robinson, right? He didn't even start for his own team last year. So, it could be a kind of a Michael Carter situation where they're all high on him now because he got drafted, but then, they're going to draft somebody else eventually, right?
If he's as good as they say, though, maybe Roschon was also a beast. He just wasn't as good as Bijan,
It's definitely possible, a Fournette kind of Geis situation. Geis was pretty awesome, too. He's just behind Fournette, so kind of hard to pass.
Right, yeah. They just happened to both be seniors and shit, so they couldn't. He was never going to get playing time. Yeah,
exactly. But next, I was going to talk about Tyjae Spears. That hometown dude. He looks to be the primary backup to Derrick Henry. Obviously, Derrick Henry didn't play, but Tyjae had 6 for 32 and a catch for 4 yards. But he looked pretty dominant. He looked pretty fast. I think he broke somebody off pretty good in one of his runs. So I liked it to see it. All those people that are saying he doesn't have an ACL. They can suck it. So I think I was one of them.
Even on Twitter, they're still they were he did all that with no ACL.
Right.
It's so funny how it's just a thing people say now.
Yeah, exactly. But people hear one thing and they run with it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But the next one I was going to go with the Colts because I've been a hater of your boy. But I'll start off with Deon Jackson. He looks to be that guy that's going to start off. JT's not practicing. He's still asking for a trade. And what's his face got hurt. No. What's his name? Zach Moss. Yeah, Zach Moss got hurt. He's the backup over there to Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah,
so Deon
he's
Jackson,
not coming back until probably week 1. He broke his arm, so yeah.
Right. So it's looks like Deon Jackson. If Jonathan Taylor doesn't come back in time, Deon Jackson could be that guy that starts gets you a couple wins. So maybe look for him as well. But the guy I wanted to talk about with the Colts was old Anthony Richardson, who went, he went 7 for 12 for 67 yards, but he threw a pick too. Did you see him? Did you see it?
Yeah, I watched a lot of that game, and I gotta say, and I'm not trying to sound crazy, but like I really kind of feel like my stock went up on him. That pick was horrible, I will say. It was one of those like rookie moments where he's just like, I gotta get rid of it. So it's good, like I said, with preseason to get that out of the way. But I will that throw to Pierce that Pierce dropped. I mean, he dropped that in perfectly, like Jameis Winston style, just right on the money.
Jameis Winston style.
I guess let me say Aaron Rodgers style.
Yeah, Jameis Winston style. I've never heard that before.
He's got great deep ball, man. So yeah, he dropped it right in there, and Pierce just couldn't come down with it, and so that gave me a lot of confidence in that this guy's not afraid to throw the ball. I mean, like we said, we both watched him against LSU last year. Did not look good, but I mean, maybe the Colts have been coaching him up. Maybe Andrew Luck stopped by. You never know. I mean, gave him some pointers. So I'm gonna say
he looked like the same guy to me. The deep ball was never in the question. You know what I mean? He has a ton of arm talent, right? I mean, all those highlights you see on Twitter, he's just chunking the ball up and the dude just running underneath it because he threw it 70 yards. That's not the question. It's if you're going to make those good decisions, you're going to make those short and medium passes, the ones that you're going to be making more times than not. His running.
Did you see the video? Right. Did you see the video of him and Gardner Minshew on Twitter?
No.
Okay, so it's like it's one of those QB drills at minicamp where like they both are dropping back at the exact same pace, like a 7-step drop, and then making a throw. Well, like they do it, and as they throw, like Minshew throws, and like they throw at the same time, but Minshew's ball like does this, and like, and then Richardson's ball is like a rocket ship, and I was just like, man, like that's like such a different thing that you have to when it comes to timing for receivers too. Like that's gonna take some getting used to because they're saying he's the starter now. Yeah. So they're gonna have to get used to like turning and like putting their hands up like. Get ready to catch it because it's not no Minshew floater. Like that's some heat coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, like I'm saying though, I drafted him in another 2 QB league as a backup, not as a starter, but still, like I think it was like 12th round or something. I was just like, eventually, like if he's gonna run the ball, if he's got a 15-point floor just from getting 70 rushing yards and a touchdown weekly. It's kind of hard to pass that up,
I think
so.
It's
I'd say my stock's rising on him.
Yeah, I think his fantasy stock or his fantasy, legendary status and his legendary status in the league will be two different. I think he'll be a great fantasy player like Justin Fields is, but really like stats wise, your team's probably losing that game, and he's just going to look good, running the ball. So if that's what you're going for, then that's what but that you shouldn't expect that to last too long. Last guy I have for the preseason would be Devon Achane. He went 10 carries for 25 yards, but he had 4 catches for 41 yards. So he looked pretty sharp. I think he's going to be the starter over there. They did not sign Dalvin Cook. They didn't sign Dalvin Cook, so they have Mostert and Jeff Wilson over there.
I think Jeff Wilson's going to be the starter to start.
Right.
Yeah.
They both are just injury prone, right? I mean, they always get hurt. It's not going to – Mostert looks pretty good when he plays. He's fast as hell. But it doesn't mean he's going to stay healthy, I mean, it's just. I'm in a draft right now. So I'm mentioning people I drafted. I got Jeff Wilson super late. He's not like my number 1 running back. I think he's probably like my 6th running back or something. But it could be. I had Jeff Wilson all last year, man, and even when he got traded to the Dolphins, like he was like a good 12 points. He's like an RB3 type of guy. He's not totally unskilled either. So it's and. One thing I was remembering too is, the coach over there in Miami is the dude with the glasses. I can't remember his name, but he used to be a coach under Mike Shanahan, or not Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco, right? So, and Jeff Wilson got traded from San Francisco to
Miami. So the reason I kind of went with picking Jeff Wilson in that moment was like, okay, this guy traded for this guy and he's going to try to run a similar run scheme. So I'm like, for me, I really think at least in the beginning of the season, Jeff Wilson is the guy to target there. Only because, like we said, Mostert gets hurt. Like Mostert's probably more skilled and faster, but he's gonna tweak his cartilage or something pretty quickly, especially on that field in Miami. I don't like it. So.
But so that's kind of our guys from the week one. Like just kind of highlights. Just think about it. This is kind of the preseason is where you see where your handcuffs are at. Where you're going to see those breakout running backs, those breakout receivers that are going to happen during the season. This is where you win your leagues at right here. Is those middle to late rounds. All those guys in the top 5 rounds are probably going to produce pretty similarly. The guys going forward, the ones that fill out your team, those are the ones and keep them running throughout the season. Those are the ones that are going to help you win. But going to the next guy, we got, like you tried to do earlier, you got Zeke to the Patriots and Dalvin Cook to the Jets. We can start over here with Ezekiel Elliott to the Patriots. I thought Zeke looked pretty slow last year, but he did still get goal line carries, and he still got the short yardage situations from Tony Pollard. So do you think that's something that's going to happen with Ramondre Stevenson? Is you bumping him down? You moving Zeke up? What you thinking?
I mean, I think you got to move Ramondre down. I didn't feel like this exactly until I read this stat. It was that Zeke converted on his goal line attempts compared to Ramondre by like 2 times.
Oh, wow.
So basically, like if he was 5 for 10, Zeke was like 10 for 20 type of deal. You know what I'm saying? So I really think you got to kind of feel like he's going to take some goal line carries and be successful. And if he's successful, he's going to keep getting them. One thing I did want to add too, we don't do a lot of betting stuff, but I'm hopping on Zeke Elliott to score a touchdown week 1. Exactly what's going to happen. He's going to get 7 carries for 12 yards, and one of them's going to be a 1 yard touchdown.
Dude, we talked about it last week when we had Ramondre Stevenson. We ranked him number 9. So I'm gonna move him out of the top 10 now. Let
me see. I can look at our old list too. Who would we move up in that scenario? Oh, Tony Pollard. That's an easy one.
Yeah, right.
I've been drafting Tony Pollard above him anyway.
You don't need to worry about him getting Zeke now. You can move up, like I said, Achane and old boy, because you don't have to worry about Dalvin Cook going to the Jets now, so that's good. But what was I saying?
Breece Hall.
We were talking about it last week. Bill Belichick, you fumble one time, your running back's coming out. So Ramondre Stevenson fumbles, he's not going to have any problem giving the ball to Zeke for the rest of the game. So, I mean, that's just something that you're going to have to look for. I don't draft Patriots receivers. I don't care where you want to rank them. I'm not drafting either one of them. Goodbye. Yeah. I hate it. Because, like I said, Zeke's slowish, but he is going to get those goal line carries, so he's going to vulture Ramondre Stevenson.
One other stat I'll throw in real quick, too, is that it was something like 146 or 142, something like that, snaps, rushing attempts that other guys got last year than Ramondre on the Patriots. So what people need to understand is that Zeke is going to come and just take those already vacated snaps. So it's not like – it's really just if Zeke wasn't like a goal line hawk, that's kind of the thing. Like, that's why we're moving him down. I really still think Ramondre's a quality, if you're at the end of the first and all the running backs are gone that you really wanted, like I wouldn't say it was terrible. I mean, I probably want to go for a stud wide receiver over him. But if you're a running back, I got to have a running back type of guy. I really would still probably pick him. They're a defense first team. Defense first teams love to run the ball. They have no wide receivers. Nobody that's going to even get drafted probably as a wide receiver. I mean, maybe people will draft Juju. Maybe.
Devontae Parker. What's the name? Tyquan Thornton.
Yeah, I mean, nobody. Gesicki just got hurt. All of that. None of it's looking good. So they're going to run the ball is what I'm trying to say. So I still like him as a running back.
It seems like we take different stances on this because I don't draft Patriots running backs. I think you should. There's just going to be – let somebody else deal with that headache. Like I said before, those first couple rounds, the running backs you're going to draft are going to be similar. Go with Joe Mixon. Go with Aaron Jones over him. I wouldn't pick that guy. Alvin Kamara looked pretty sharp. If you can mind waiting 3 weeks, pick him. And the next – wait till the 2 rounds later and pick him as your first running back. Get a good receiver there.
So definitely, that's a great strategy, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think Dalvin Cook to the Jets is going to be more impactful because that I know they activated Breece Hall off the PUP today, but like that can't be good for his knee, right? I mean, if they're signing Dalvin Cook to a 1-year contract worth $10 million. I mean, he's going to be playing, right? He's not going to be sitting on the bench behind Breece Hall, so I got to be scared for Breece Hall's knee. I'm not.
I think it's base salary $7 million too, so that means it's got incentives, but that's still a good amount, and that's some of the money. People need to understand that Aaron Rodgers gave up like $35 million, so he probably while giving up that money, he was like, "You need to go sign this person. You need to have this, keep this money on the side, for like." They're going to need some O-linemen or something coming up soon because they're paper thin at the O-line. So I'm with you on that. I think Dalvin Cook I really think Dalvin Cook becomes a starter just because Breece is coming off the injury and having Breece Hall as your 2B, as your 1A, your 1B is sick,
Yeah, I know. Once he's healthy. About it. He's because he has Breece Hall in Dynasty. He's a big Breece Hall guy. I was just messing with him, and he sent me he actually, Connor usually just argue, but this time he actually sent me like a he's pissed sign, like emoji, like he was mad about it. So I think he's pretty defeated on it too. Dalvin Cook has lost a little bit of a step, but I don't think it's that much. You know what I mean? I just don't think the Vikings needed to pay a running back when you're about to have to pay Jettas a lot of money. So they were just like, whatever.
I'm not even sure I would say he's lost a step. I think his main thing is he has this shoulder injury.
He's always hurt. Yeah.
He can't. Yeah, like I think he has like a dislocated shoulder, and it hasn't been surgically fixed. So like, it can pop out really at any time, like when he's trying to truck somebody or if someone grabs his arm a certain way. And obviously, it must be pretty painful because he's missed weeks for it. So that's kind of the main thing that he's dealing with. I don't think he's any slower though or anything. I really think he's like exiting his prime. Like he's still a stud. Like he had a great season last year, and just the year before that, he had like 1,600 or 1,700 yards, right? So like,
absolutely. I drafted Breece Hall with the 3-1. Yeah, no 3-12, 3-12 in that. I wouldn't do it again. I can say that I would wait on him because there's no reason for him to go that high.
Now, can you look at that draft and see who you passed up to draft him?
I didn't pass up anybody. That's why I took him. I knew I probably would have just went a receiver or maybe a good tight end.
There was no other running back. Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I went him. But yeah, so that's kind of the news. We liked Alvin Kamara. He looked good. Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott. So now let's get into some receivers, dude. Our top 20 PPR receivers going to round out our list. We did the quarterbacks, the tight ends, wide receivers, and running backs. And then after this, we'll wrap up. And then next week, I think we're going to do a mock draft for you guys. We actually draft a league this Saturday, so it'd be kind of fun to talk about that and then do a mock draft after this week, going into your drafts next week. So, yeah, let's get into it. How'd you do the list this time? Did you 20-1 again?
I did, yeah. I like to go up. I like to lead up to the 1. So let's go with a guy who probably just jumped into the top 20 with his performance this most recent preseason game, right? I mean, DJ Moore. I don't think most people would probably have him maybe in the top 25, but maybe not top 20. But we know the guy's talented, and if they're going to be throwing to him in screen form and down the field, I think you got to put him up there. We want to see what Justin Fields is going to do. What do you think?
He's going to want to chunk the ball to him, I can tell you that. And DJ Moore is always pretty consistent, to be honest with you. Like, even with the Panthers every year with the bad quarterback play, he was consistently putting up at least 1,000 yards, putting up some numbers unless he got hurt. And Justin Fields is looking to prove something, right? I mean, they're all saying he's not a good quarterback because all he does is run. He's going to get the Anthony Richardson treatment. So he's going to lead looking to someone to prove. And who else is he going to throw it to? Claypool? So I think DJ Moore is going to get a lot of looks. Next guy I put on there would be Deebo. I think he's one of the guys that could be higher on the list because, he's so athletic. He's so talented. It just really depends on how the 49ers are going to use him. If they use him like they did last year, then, he should be out of the top 20. And Brandon Ayuk should be right there instead. But if they're going to use Deebo like he should be used, I think Deebo will be pretty good in the 19 spot, if not go higher.
I really feel like if Purdy plays, I think Purdy was really targeting Samuel, right? Or was it the other way? Was he targeting?
I think it was Jimmy G that was targeting him, and then when Purdy came in, it was
maybe that's what it was. I know there was one where it was an obvious switch whenever like the other quarterback came in. So that's definitely going to be something to pay attention to. I think talent-wise, though, I don't mind seeing Deebo in the top 20 at all.
Yeah. Next, I got Amari Cooper in the 18th spot. That's really just it contingent on if Deshaun Watson's going to play good, play like the old Deshaun Watson. Because if he's going to do that, then Amari Cooper could also be ranked higher. He's been consistency as well. I mean, he's always getting those good seasons. He just doesn't catch a lot of touchdowns, right? I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
Wide receiver 10 last year, and Watson played only 6 games, and of those 6, they were like everyone said Watson looked terrible. So he's still wide receiver 10 last year. So having him at 18 is really saying he's going to have a worse year.
Right.
But that's just, I think, like we're saying. There's other guys above here that are.
Yeah, that were pretty nice. And I think I did DeAndre Hopkins here at this next spot as out of respect. If DeAndre Hopkins can still be DeAndre Hopkins, he also could be higher. I think wide receiver is like a position. That's why I always go running backs heavy. Because I think wide receiver position is always interchangeable. Like I don't think the difference between number 6 wide receiver and number 12 wide receiver is going to be substantial. But I do think the difference between running back 6 and running back 12 is going to be pretty nice. But like I said, DeAndre Hopkins, he's playing with Tannehill, so that's going to hurt him a little bit. But it's still D-Hop, right? Has he ever had a quarterback that's been good? I mean, besides Kyler.
When Watson was doing his thing, but yeah. He used to catch from Schaub, remember? I mean, Schaub is really who made him who he was because he used to play opposite of Andre Johnson.
Exactly. So Hopkins is good with whoever's throwing the football because he's a good football player, just like, another guy we're going to talk about later in Davante Adams. Next guy I got, DK Metcalf. I think he's he's 6'4", 200 and something, 250 pounds and runs a 4.3. I mean, if he could, I don't know do I need to say more?
Yeah, I don't think so. For me, I think another year of consistency and camaraderie with Geno Smith. You get better and better the more when you can. This is what Davante Adams and Rodgers used to say is that they could look at each other without even doing any hand motions or saying anything, just a look, and he would know, oh, I need to run this route. So just playing another year with Geno, I think they're going to get that camaraderie going.
I don't think they'll ever be that good. That sounds pretty freaking awesome. But
well, I mean, Geno's not Aaron Rodgers, but I'm just saying in the sense of that he's gonna. What were his stats?
That chemistry.
Had a pretty good
build that chemistry. And then they got Jackson Smith and Jigba, and they got Tyler Lockett. So there is no way to be a wide receiver 1 on that team and not get. You're going to get the top cornerback, sure, but you're not going to get multiple corners. You're not going to be able to hone in on just you. I think there'll be a moving quarterback. Like if they play the Saints, Lattimore's not going to just stick on Metcalf the entire game. You know what I'm saying? It'll be like a moving thing where you can't do that. So, I mean, I think it'll open up a lot for both of them. I think Njigba is going to be on the way up too, and Metcalf is just, not going to have a bad season. He's just too big of a person to do that. What I did here was Calvin Ridley at the 15 spot. He looked pretty good this weekend too, huh? I mean, he had a couple catches. He had to play football until here, so he's going to look pretty fresh. And he's got the long locks thrown to him, and he's getting better every year too. So I think Calvin Ridley is another guy that's going to be pretty good. Don't be afraid to draft him as your wide receiver 1 because he is pretty good.
Real quick,
go ahead.
Wait, before you jump ahead, let me jump. I was looking at the stat real quick. Fall back to DK Metcalf. Tyler Lockett in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons has never been out of the top 20. So how do we not put DK Metcalf in when his number 2, a shorter guy, is getting in the top? Literally, he's got a finish of 17, 13, 8, 15, and 13. So he's basically top 15 every year. And he's probably drafted. I don't know if I can check his ADP very fast on here. It's not going to let me. His ADP is probably like wide receiver 29 or something. You know what I'm saying? So like, I like Seattle players, and if you like watching DK just because he's a physical specimen, I think that's why he's up there at 16. So
DK was wide receiver 16 last year. Actually, I didn't know that. I just looked it up. That's pretty cool on my part that I made this list like that. And he's going to be wide receiver 16 this year. And I think he had a down year last year, so I might kind of want to move him up a couple spots because I think he'll be better even this year than he was last year. Going back to Devonta Smith is who I have in the 14th slot. The only reason he isn't higher is because AJ Brown's in front of him. Jalen Hurts is getting better every year. Devonta Smith is getting better every year. They're both pretty good, and I think he's going to keep getting those targets. I actually like Devonta Smith a little higher, But there's just so many good receivers that you can't really, it's just a list at this point. These guys are just somebody that you're just making a list with. It's hard to guess because
if I told you Devonta Smith was wide receiver 9 in PPR leagues last year, would you believe that? Because that's what it says on here.
No, I would. Just because he only had, which is crazy. T. Higgins is who I got next, and he's just another guy, just like Devonta Smith would be higher if he didn't have Jamar Chase in front of him, right? I mean, Joe Burrow's he's already practicing. Joe Burrow said, I'm not sitting out 5 games, so I think he'll be out there week 1 or 2, balling out. And T. Higgins is a good option, still a top 13 guy.
Was it even a question that he was going to miss week 1 with this calf injury?
Really? I think so. I think they were just guessing because how everybody is. They just like throw out accusations and stuff.
What leg was it? Because I know, like for me, like with my knee injury, like your calf atrophy, so that could be
your right one. Yeah, I would assume it was his right one.
Okay, all right. Well, that makes a little more sense then, because I can't imagine you strain your calf and you're out for multiple weeks.
Right. Like, well, I think it was like a high strain or whatever, grade 2 or something.
Okay.
So then I got Jaylen Waddle. This is just yet another guy 3 in a row that is just a wide receiver 2 on his own team. So you can't really rate him above these next 11 guys who are all number 1s in their team. Don't have to worry about seeing the targets, even with these 2 guys here. But Jaylen Waddle's still a beast. I like Jaylen Waddle a lot. I'm so glad he's not on Alabama anymore. So you can actually like the guy. Yeah. Jaylen Waddle's a beast. He's fast. He's super good. That's all you need to really say about him. Next, I got somebody that I think could crack the top 10 in Amon Ra St. Brown. I think Jared Goff is not a bad quarterback. I think the Lions are on their way up. And I think when Jameson Williams gets there, they can't all focus on Amon Ra. So I think he's going to have a good season as well. He was pretty good last year, and there's no reason to believe he's not going to be good this year, especially with the Lions looking better and better every year.
He played 16 games last year, and he's wide receiver 7 according to this. So there you go. He already cracked the top 10. St. Brown.
Amon Ra, yeah. I think he got hurt in one of the games, like the first quarter too, like first drive of the game. I'm pretty sure because I definitely have.
Right, so that counts too. So he probably really only played a full 15 games and was still wide receiver 7.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I think I just like a lot of these guys going forward. These other guys that I wouldn't rate ahead of him right now. Garrett Wilson, he's my next guy. He's starting out in the top 10. You got Aaron Rodgers, right? He was already pretty good last year. What was Garrett Wilson last year? 80 for wide receiver wise. He's had a slow start.
PPR 21.
21. I think he had a slow start last year. So I think, going forward this year, he'll be guns a-blazing with A-Raj.
With having Wilson, let me look at I know a couple of his games. I can look at his game view right here.
And they were saying Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers said Garrett Wilson will remind him a lot of Davante Adams. I mean, it's a pretty
He didn't really start playing well until Mike White. His first 5 games are 9, 30, 12, 6, 5, 1.
Yeah, and he still was 21. So, it's his last. He was
still 21. Yeah.
And who was his quarterback last year? Zach Wilson at the end. He had nobody throwing the ball, and he was still pretty good.
Mike White,
Flacco.
Well, Wilson first, and then Mike White, and then Flacco at some point too. Yeah,
so
it'll be nice as long as Aaron Rodgers is hurt.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers throws the ball just like flicking his wrist. Oh, I forgot. We could probably watch Hard Knocks today, huh? Or is that Tuesday? I thought, isn't it Tuesdays?
I saw it on HBO last night. I hadn't looked at it yet, though. Is that episode 2?
Episode 2, yeah. But anyway, we'll skip that. We'll go to my next guy who I love. We are all gonna love. It's Chris Olave. Dude's a stud. I'm not letting Garrett Wilson be ranked ahead of him because I think he was robbed last year, Rookie of the Year. Chris Olave, like I said, Derek Carr looked pretty comfortable the other day on Sunday. So I think, Chris Olave is going to get a ton of targets. What do you think?
Finished PPR 25 with freaking Andy Dalton most of the year.
Andy Dalton. Boo.
So, I don't there's no way he's not at least jumping into the top 20. If he's not in the top 10, that would be understandable because Mike Thomas is coming back and he looks fresh. So I don't mind Olave being here. I know it's little Saints homerisms of us to have him in the top 10, but I also have seen him highly drafted. Like I'm seeing him drafted in second rounds a lot of the time.
Second and third rounds, into second, early third. So I think
it's not crazy for us to have him there. I don't think. Maybe it was a little ahead of Smith, Amon Ra, and Waddle is probably crazy, but right there he's in that zone. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 9 to 12. I said that's the range he's going in. That's where he's gonna be pretty solid at. Then we got CeeDee Lamb, who's takes a step forward every single year. He's got Dak back. CeeDee Lamb's a beast. We don't really got to talk about a lot about him. This next guy is the one I wanted to talk about with you a little bit because of why I drafted him this low. Because he's going in the first round of other people's drafts. I got Cooper Kupp at 7, behind AJ Brown, Davante Adams, and Diggs. I think it's just because he's already hurt. He has a hamstring injury right now, and that's something that he's dealt with a lot, right? I mean, I feel like he got hurt last year because of a hamstring, I'm pretty sure. So that's just something I'm not interested in. I'm not interested in a guy that's going to get hurt a lot. Cooper Kupp's great. If he plays, he's going to be fine. But, is he going to stay healthy? That's why I ranked him a little lower because you never
only played 9 games last year. Stafford's coming in hurt. I don't think the Rams are going to be very good. I'm not saying fade him. I would definitely, if you're at 112 and he's still on the board, you need to snatch that dude up. But
probably, yeah.
I really don't. I'm not one of the guys that's saying pick him in picks 1 through 6. Like I see, I'll have Kelsey over Cooper Kupp, honestly. So
yeah, absolutely. This year, I mean, Cooper Kupp was going number 1 in some drafts last year, but he got hurt.
I mean, he had 439 points. So that's a lot. It's like
I don't want to sound too contradictory because I said last week I'm picking McCaffrey because you don't play to lose. But I think if the options are right there with AJ Brown right there, with Davante Adams or Tyreek Hill right there, you go with one of those 3 over him, in my opinion. Just for now, just until you see his legs fine.
Yeah, and I understand that thought process. What you're saying, it sounds contradictory, but when you think it out, McCaffrey is at an echelon where there's not another guy that you can grab.
Exactly.
Like him. People might want to say Eckler, but Eckler hasn't even rushed for 1,000 yards ever. So it's like,
yeah, but he also has had 27 touchdowns the past. He has 40 something touchdowns.
Yeah, but touchdowns can be super regressive, dude. I mean, what if Quentin Johnson catches 8 touchdowns this year? That's 8 less touchdowns for your boy to have. You know what I'm saying? So it's like with McCaffrey, he's rushing for the yards and he's catching the balls and he's getting his points that way, along with still scoring sometimes. So I don't think it's that crazy for you to feel that way. Because you can always just get Tyreek Hill instead of getting Cooper Kupp, and you're getting very similar. Oh, did I lose you? Oh, you're frozen.
I'm back.
Now I'm frozen? Okay.
Are you good now? I'm waiting on you. We kind of lagged.
No, you're not frozen anymore. You're good.
Okay.
I just don't know if I'm not lagging or something.
No, you're not. You're not. You're good. So, yeah, next thing I got is AJ Brown. AJ Brown was pretty dominant last year. Jalen Hurts, like I said, we don't got to go into him again because I'm saying he's getting better every year too. AJ Brown, as long as he stays healthy, will be top 5, top 6, whatever you want to say. These next 6 guys are pretty interchangeable except for the top 2. Then I got Davante Adams here, which might be a little controversial because who's throwing the football over there, but it's just a respect thing in my opinion. I think Davante Adams is technically the best receiver in the league right now in terms of route running, in terms of speed, in terms of hands. I think he's the best overall receiver right now. You got anything on him?
He's been top 3 the last 4 out of the last 5 years, and the year he wasn't top 3, he was injured. So
the dude's good as long as he's healthy. It doesn't really matter who's throwing the ball; he's going to be pretty good. Next, I got Stefon Diggs. These next few guys, I mean, they're just pretty self-explanatory. I don't know if we have to go into great detail about these guys. It's Stefon Diggs. He has Josh Allen.
Adams and Diggs are both getting to that 30-year-old mark, which is where people start to try to want to freak out. So if you pay attention to ages and you're serious like that, these are 2 guys that are just turning 30. So think about that. But
this is definitely just for PPR. If we were talking dynasty, it'd be completely different. I wouldn't want to draft Adams in the top 10. Then you got Tyreek Hill at 3. That could be switched with a couple guys, but he's just a super fast speedster. Tua is going to chunk it up. They're going to find a place to get him the ball, so he's not a bad option in the first round. These are the only 3 I would pick in the first round. If I won't only pick Jefferson and Chase pretty much anywhere in the first, but Tyreek Hill I wouldn't pick till the end of the first. But other than that, they're the only 3 I would draft.
Had his best season last year, and that was without Mahomes. So everybody who said Mahomes was good because of Hill or Hill was good because of Mahomes, maybe they're both just good.
Yeah, Mahomes won the Super Bowl, and Tyreek Hill has the best season ever without him. So it's pretty,
So it's I think they're both having a great time.
And then now this is the best part about this little list. We get to rate 2 dudes that we saw play on our LSU Tigers. We won them. We won the national championship with them. They're both 1 and 2 in our rankings. They're the best 2 wide receivers in the league besides Adams. You got Jamar Chase at number 2, and you got Justin Jefferson at 1. I think if Burrow plays, it's going to be a toss up between both of them. Who's going to get the best?
Yeah.
I love them both. I think they're both fantastic receivers. They're going to be 1 and 2 as long as they both stay healthy and their quarterbacks stay healthy. I honestly think Jamar Chase could be number 1 because Burrow is a lot better than Cousins, right? It's just I think Jefferson is just a better overall receiver than Chase, but I think Jamar Chase is still elite. I think Jamar Chase is faster than Jefferson. I'm pretty sure. I think Jefferson probably has the better hands. Route running, it could be a toss-up, but Jamar Chase is definitely the deep ball threat.
I mean, looking at this, Jamar Chase, his rookie season, played all 17 games. In standard, he was number 3. In PPR, he was number 5 in his rookie year. And now last year he was 12-12 in standard and PPR, but he missed 4 games with that hip injury.
Right, and he was still top 12.
Still top 12 with missing 4 games and a hip injury. So yeah,
I had him his rookie year in our big league, and he won me the championship. He had like 63 points in that championship game, 67 points or something. He had like 6 touchdowns. And then Justin Jefferson, he's just a stud as well. He just has a lackluster quarterback play, but he's still a stud. I think he could go for 2,000 yards. They lost Thielen. They got the rookie Jordan Addison, who looked pretty good in his debut. It doesn't matter. Justin Jefferson's gonna get over 100 targets.
Well,
what's he gonna do with it?
I think Addison does help though because they were able to put their worst corner last year on Thielen because he's getting a little older and slower and he's not. So now they're gonna have to cornerback 2 is gonna have to play on Addison because he's looking that good. So that's gonna leave. That's gonna give Jefferson still with cornerback 1, but it's going to be harder for them to like bracket coverage on him and stuff. So I really think that's kind of why I'm like so gung-ho. I'm drafting Justin Jefferson. I'm going to have Chase and Jefferson and like who needs running backs? You don't really need them. Like I don't care what anybody says, you don't need them.
Hey, I want you to try out the 0 running back theory this year and instantly you can draft both of them. Trade your running back. Trade whoever your running back keeper is. I want to see you do it. I want you to go 0 running back and win the league.
0 running back. See, but that's my problem is I do 0 running back and then round 3 I'm like,
fuck, I can't do this.
I'm like, Joe Mixon's here at 3-1. Like, how do I not take him? Like, so yeah, that's why you have to like commit to 0 running back. Like, you have to be like, I will take, Elijah Mitchell in round 12 as my starter. Like, I can't. I don't think I can do that, dude.
I know I can't do it. I will never be able to do that. Not like the third, like you said, the 3rd or 4th round. I'm gonna look at my team and be like, I hate it. Let's restart the draft.
Right. This is practice rounds, right?
Right.
Were we mocking?
So I would just hate it. But that's kind of the show we had. Like I said, the rankings are done. I don't think I want to keep going into more rankings just because they're going to change. Like I said, our top 10 for running backs already changed. It's been a week. So I don't want to keep doing rankings. What we want to do is we want to do a mock draft next week. We might try to invite some people, try to fill it up, get a crowd of people going, get some feedback. Maybe we can get them like they did with the draft on the for the fantasy 6-pack. Maybe we'll get them, and me and you will do the show. We'll call them up when their pick comes if we have some questions. Maybe that'd be something fun we can get people involved with.
I'm interested in doing at least stock up, stock down, because that's something you can talk about quick, Oh,
yeah,
like Kendre Miller, stock down. Jawan Johnson, stock up, but that's bad because you want to draft him low, So it's like I'm interested in at least doing that. But you're right. I don't want to keep doing rankings.
Like a full list,
like
you know what I mean?
Pounding our head into the ground. Like
what I do like to do is that what I did at the beginning, we kind of recapped the preseason of the couple guys that, stand out to you and what you want to talk about those. That's fine. You know what I mean? I just think going out and keep making lists and lists and lists, they're just going to keep.
That's really good too, because the casuals aren't watching. And if we have casual fans, like they're not watching preseason really, and you can really find some guys. I mean, I'm trying to remember.
They don't have to watch anymore. We'll watch for you. You just gotta watch our show, and we'll tell you how to draft them.
Right.
But yeah, so that's our show.
Like, I caught him in preseason. I was like, yes. But yeah, you're right.
But yeah, so next episode we'll mock. Like I said, we'll get that going. We'll talk about some preseason week 2 guys. We're excited. I think we play the Chargers this week. I think I'm 100. I don't know 100%, but yeah. So just like I said before, become an all-access member of Fantasy 6-Pack to get the access to the award-winning rankings, draft cheat sheets, DFS projections, betting tools, and other great content. Best of all, you get the access to the analysts directly on our Discord where you can get custom advice for your leagues. Go to fantasy6pack.net/plans and use promo code F6PNFL to save 15% when you sign today. Just like Blake had. Shout out to John Hendricks for giving Blake the tickets and the insight. Hopefully, maybe we can get him on the pod. That'd be pretty cool to talk about some Saints stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit him up. I didn't want to do it like right away, so I'm like,
right. I don't know for that big time yet for him yet, but I think he would probably boost our views a little bit. But if y'all have any questions or comments about our list, anybody we talked about, comment below. But other than that, I think we're gonna tap on out of here.
Let's tap out.